Hey you guys, today we're looking at the triple Xehanort fight at the end of the Keyblade Graveyard. The Nort court was probably one of my favorite fights because you were fighting some of the previous game's final bosses all at the same time. It was chaotic and exciting, and the set piece you fought on was so epic. Anyways, let's start off by looking at the area before the battle. In all of the fights taking place in the Keyblade Graveyard, ruins appeared showing the various weapons of the original Organization 13, though one set of ruins seemed to have ruins of Skull-Eyed Kylum. Some of these can be seen on the wall up to the battle against the Norts, though instead of being horizontal, everything is flipped to be vertical. This symbol here is unique and gives me vibes of a crystal, and this one makes me think of an eye. This symbol is also on the floor of the arena, but I really am not sure what this could be. If you guys have ideas, let me know down below. As Sora meets up with the King and Riku, Ansem, young Xehanort, and Xemnas show up before Xehanort is revealed to be standing on a spire above the arena. Sora confronts Xemnas since the last time he had seen him, he was capturing Kairi. Xehanort calls Sora boy instead of his name, which is something he also did with both Terra and Ventus in Birth by Sleep. I don't really think there's any significance to that, but it is nice to see the consistency. It's also really interesting to see Ansem use the same wordage when talking to Riku. Anyways, we then learn that there have been 9 clashes, which are the fights we just did in the Keyblade Graveyard. To me, this confirms that Xian was one of the clashes. She did end up regaining herself and memories and changing over to the side of the Guardians of Light, but not before clashing with Kairi and Lee. 4 are still needed though. It's really interesting that these no-name Keyblades, or some call them Gazing Eye Keyblades, are spawned. All of keychains mean these are actual Keyblades. Sora always planned to stop fighting once he reached Xehanort, but Xehanort has planned for that by capturing Kairi. Even if the 3 die here now, there will still be 3 keys created and more Guardians of Light who are able to face Xehanort to create the last one. The fight then commences with a 3-on-3 match. The opening of this fight is a little hectic as all 3 of the versions of Xehanort are kind of attacking whoever is close to them. This only lasts for a short while though before all 3 flip backwards and disappear. The old Xehanort summons a Keyblade wave to capture Riku and Mickey. The arena changes with wind blocking the edges of the arena as waves of Keyblades slam down. These won't actually hit you right now, and the 3 Xehanorts will appear to attack you. This whole section can be seen as the ultimate attack of the fight since it happens periodically throughout the fight, so I'll go over the different variations of it now. When all 3 are alive, young Xehanort will do his time stop attack as Xemnas spins towards you. If you get hit by Xemnas' opening attack, Sora will be thrown to the ground where Xemnas appears to do a crossing slash attack. This whips an X into the ground. Ansem then appears to shoot out a red shockwave and multiple tendrils of darkness, which may be an attack that looks familiar. After this, multiple Keyblade waves will fly towards you. After the ultimate attack is over, the Nort court will appear to follow up with an attack. Xemnas will fly around summoning orbs of energy to shoot at you from all sides. Ansem will spawn mines all around you, and young Xehanort will do his time stop attack, which will throw you towards the mines. When there are just 2 enemies and a single enemy, the attacks will change both at the beginning and the end. For young Xehanort, at the start of the ultimate attack, he will summon multiple casts of ice to shoot at you when there are 2 enemies, and when he is the only one left, he will link his ice attack with his combo, which breaks your guard right when the ice reaches you. He'll then follow this up with his time stop attack. At the end of the ultimate attack, he will always use his time stop attack. For Ansem, he will do his Tendrils of Darkness attack to open when there are 3 enemies. When there are only 2 enemies left, he will summon Orbs of Darkness that shoot beams of energy at Sora before summoning a Pool of Darkness that spawns this unblockable claw attack. When Ansem is by himself, he will spawn the orbs again, though instead of the Pool of Darkness, he will draw you in and do his Tendrils of Darkness attack. At the end of the ultimate attack, Ansem will spawn mines around you if there are 3 enemies alive. He will also spawn mines when there are just 2 enemies, though he will also create a Pool of Darkness to attack you with claws. When he is by himself, he will use the Tendrils of Darkness attack. Xemnas will open with the Spinning Strike attack that sends you down to the ground when all 3 enemies are there, though blocking or dodging the first hit will cancel his attack. When he is the last enemy alive, he will fly in a huge circle around you, spawning a ton of energy orbs before following it up with a double kick attack and a rising slash attack. He will then end with the spinning attack. At the end of the ultimate attack, Xemnas will spawn the energy orbs when there are 3 enemies alive, but will do a spinning slash attack when there are only 1 or 2 enemies left. Like I said, this fight is so hectic. Now let's get to the actual fight. The person who will focus on you will always be the one with the pink aura. This goes in a cycle of the enemy attacking you for a bit before the screen darkens and there's a transition attack to the next enemy. After this transition attack, someone else will have the aura and will focus their attacks on you. These transition attacks follow a set cycle depending on who will have the aura next. The one who will be up next in the cycle will always attack last, and the other 2 enemies will attack together. There are a number of different unique team attacks. Young Xehanort and Xemnas will always link up with Xemnas' energy orbs and young Xehanort's whip capture attack. Young Xehanort and Ansem's team attack is Ansem using the Pool of Darkness attack while young Xehanort shoots casts of Blizzard at you. Ansem and Xemnas' team attack has Ansem spawning mines all around you as Xemnas spawns energy shots. When an enemy is defeated, there's a different team attack for the characters. When it is just young Xehanort and Ansem, young Xehanort will do the first 3 hits of his combo attack twice, while Ansem does his charge attack. Their other attack has Ansem doing his beam attack, with young Xehanort doing his time stop attack. When Xemnas and Ansem team up, Xemnas will do 2 kicks and his rising attack, while Ansem charges. If Ansem opens the attack, he will do his mines and Pool of Darkness combo before Xemnas does his spinning attack. When Xemnas and young Xehanort team up, young Xehanort will do 3 hits of his combo twice, while Xemnas does his spinning slash attack. They can also have Xemnas doing his combo, while young Xehanort does his time stop attack. Now with all of that out of the way, let's actually look at the attacks that each of these characters use. Let's look at young Xehanort first. Some of young Xehanort's attacks are nods to his fight from Dreamed Out Distance. I'll try to have a similar attack on screen while I'm showing these attacks. Young Xehanort's first attack is a combo attack. He will do 3 whip attacks before flipping his Keyblade to slash at you. The whip's second hit will throw you to the ground if you are in the air, and the third hit will bring you close to young Xehanort so he can hit you with his Keyblade. Dodging or blocking the third hit will stop the attack, though if you block on the ground, it will break it and set you up for a wrist dodge attack. If you are close to young Xehanort with his attack, he will open with a quick slash before doing the rest of his combo. Another attack is this Ice Barrage. Young Xehanort will send these flying towards you, though the movement will change depending on your distance from him. If you are far away from young Xehanort, the ice will simply arc out towards you. If you are close though, the Ice Barrage will fly backwards before converging at the same point and flying at you. The time stop attack is pretty simple, with young Xehanort teleporting close to you to whip you. This will freeze you for a second before a flurry of slashes damage you and throw you backwards. A time magic circle appears on the ground during this attack. The last attack is a whip capture that ties you down to a small area. Young Xehanort sinks his Keyblade into the ground, changing it into a whip. A small pool of darkness appears near Sora and the whip flies towards him. This will limit how far Sora can move and will explode after a couple seconds. You can actually block the opening of this attack to keep him from being captured. When you defeat him, young Xehanort falls to the ground, laughing at Sora's fate. Even though young Xehanort was defeated, he will still go back to his time, but because of Sora's misuse of the power of waking, his time will be up soon. With what we know now from your mind, I really wonder if young Xehanort was actually talking to the Sora inside of Sora's heart. That sounds so weird. But the future Sora that was using the power of waking to go back and find Kairi. Obviously we can't know for sure, but that's kind of my headcanon for right now. Anyways, let's look at Ansem next. The first attack we'll look at is the Mine attack. If you are close to him, he will teleport away and spawn 4 or 5 mines around him, though staying away will usually have him teleporting closely to you to spawn these. He can then follow this up with either the orbs that shoot beams at you or the Pool of Darkness attack. The orb attack shows Ansem spawning 6 orbs of darkness around you, shooting 2 at a time. Ansem will also use this against your party members, but only 3 will spawn. There will also more spawn during the ultimate attack. The Pool of Darkness attack starts with 2 orbs circling around Ansem before meeting below him with a flash of light that spawns his Pool of Darkness and homes in on Sora. After a second, these claws will shoot out of the pool to damage Sora. This cannot be blocked. Ansem's next attack is a callback to his Kingdom Hearts 1 fight. Orbs appear above him and shoot down beams into the ground. These spin around above him as Ansem flies forward. Ansem's last attack is this charge-up attack that pulls you and your party members in. After a bit, Ansem will unleash a Red Ring as well as Tendrils of Darkness. This is strikingly similar to Sora's Rage Form combo finisher when he is in the final level of it. Before we look at Ansem's death cutscene, I want to make a note that the Dark Riku replica and Ansem share 2 attacks, the Mine attack and the Pool of Darkness attack. I love this little nod as it links the bond between the 2 since Kingdom Hearts 1. Well, not the replica and Ansem, but Riku and Ansem. The Claw attack, though, seems to stem from the anti-Black Coat. This is believed to be from Riku's Darkness since they both share similar attacks, so again it is cool to see the links with Riku, Ansem, and Darkness. As Ansem is defeated, Riku steps forward to confront him and finally close this chapter of his life. It's interesting that Ansem notes that Riku's strength was always vaster than Darkness. He then goes on to say that he wanted to defy his fate, but when the others betrayed them, he didn't care anymore. This is in reference to the nobodies who came to the aid of the Twilight Gang. Back at this point, Ansem discovered that there were some who were going to betray the organization, but instead of following them, he just resigned himself to his fate. Ansem then tells Sora that it is time to move on. There is more to seek. I believe this is Ansem realizing that there is more to seek than just being a seeker of darkness. Now let's look at Xemnas. Most of Xemnas' attacks are nods to his final form attacks in Kingdom Hearts 2. Xemnas' first attack is a combo attack that changes depending on your distance to him. If you are far away, Xemnas will dash at you with a thrusting attack before twisting and spawning his other blade to do a quick slash. He will then follow this up with a high kick and a low kick before spawning both of his blades and doing a crossing slash. If Xemnas is close to you, he will do the high and low kick first before doing 2 slashes and ending with the crossing slash. When he is by himself, he will change the ending of this attack. If he is far away, he will skip the crossing slash at the end and do 2 quick slashes before doing the spinning rising attack and ending with a kick. If he is close to you, he will do his thrusting and quick slash attack at the end before doing the rising slash and kick. His next attack shows him spawning 4 orbs that fly towards you and explode. You can block these. Another attack Xemnas will do shows him circling above you, spawning the red orbs that shoot a single laser beam at you. Xemnas' last attack is a spinning slash attack that throws you down to the ground, leaving you open to this crossing slash attack. Like I said before, you can dodge or block the first part of the attack to negate the last part. When Xemnas falls, he just calmly accepts it. Sora though presses him, saying that he knows nobody can grow hearts and wants to know what Xemnas feels. Xemnas says that he feels empty since the companions he had taken for granted had all left him. The first feeling Xemnas has in years is loneliness. Even though he feels pain, Sora reminds him that that makes him human. This offhand comment right at the end from Xemnas about pain taking incredible strength is interesting when looking back at the end of Coded and Dream Drop Distance. Sora was able to take on so much of other people's pain and not lose himself. This shows just how strong Sora's heart is. Okay, this video is getting incredibly long. I don't want to spend too much time on the ending cutscene, as a lot of this is just the reunion of the Guardians of Light and the journey to Scholarhead Kylum, but I did want to point out 4 things. The first is that Kairu is not the last clash between the light and darkness. The clash was actually after this, when Sora, Riku, and Mickey all attacked Xehanort. That may be common knowledge at this point, but I did want to point it out. Another thing is how Kairi is crystallized and moved by Xehanort. He was able to cut her down, but somehow store her inside his heart. Is this the same idea as Yozora defeating Sora in order to save him? The third thing is that Sora does a similar animation to this summon animation from Kingdom Hearts 1 when spawning this portal from Xehanort. I'm not sure if that means that Sora is summoning this or just spawning it, but I thought it was a pretty cool detail. The last thing is that this is a portal to Xehanort's dreams, or his heart. We know this is possible through Dream Drop Distance, as seen at the end of the game when the real-life Riku dives into Sora's dreams and to his station to save him from darkness. This means that all the events in Scala are some kind of dreamscape. This will make sense as to why Xehanort had to summon another Kingdom Hearts, since they were no longer in the Light Realm where Kingdom Hearts was summoned, they were in the Dream World. Of course, these last few details are just interpretations of what I think is happening. I'd love to hear what you think though, so let me know down below. And that is all I have for you guys today. I really didn't expect this video to be so long, but if you made it this far, I hope you enjoyed it. The way this fight worked was incredibly complex, and I loved picking it apart. One question I do have for you guys is, what order did you defeat the Nort Court? I feel like whenever I do this fight, I always go for young Xehanort first, then Xemnas, and then Ansem. Anyways, thank you to my patrons who support me. Their names will be on screen right now. If you want to see my breakdowns early or get a sneak peek at upcoming content, head over to my Patreon. If you enjoyed this, click the cards on screen to see some other Xehanort breakdowns, and subscribe or share this, and I'll see you in the next video.